When you start journaling, you expect something to happen. Not immediately, but eventually. You expect to understand yourself better, to feel clearer, calmer, to notice some kind of visible shift. And in the beginning, it does feel like that. You write something honest and it stays with you. You have a small realization and it feels meaningful. But then, after a while, those moments become less obvious. You still write, you still fill the page, but nothing feels particularly new. And this is usually where people assume nothing is changing. Because we are used to noticing change when it's visible, when it announces itself, when it feels like something has happened. But what writing teaches over time doesn't always show up like that. It's quieter. It shows up in how you respond to things. You pause a little longer before reacting. You notice a thought instead of immediately believing it. You sit with something instead of trying to resolve it quickly. And you don't always connect this back to writing because it doesn't feel dramatic enough to count. But if you look closely, those small shifts weren't there before. They were built slowly, page by page. That's the part that's easy to miss. Writing doesn't usually change you in a single moment. It changes the way you relate to your own thoughts over time. It creates a kind of familiarity. You begin to recognize your patterns, not analytically, just in a quiet, almost instinctive way. You know when a thought is something you've circled around before. You can tell when you're avoiding something without needing to prove it to yourself. And because of that, your relationship with yourself becomes slightly more honest. Not perfect, but less avoidant. There's also something else that happens. You stop expecting every thought to lead somewhere. In the beginning, there's a tendency to want each page to mean something, to offer clarity, to give direction. But over time, that expectation softens. You write without needing the page to return something. And strangely, that's when writing becomes more consistent because it's no longer tied to outcome. It becomes something closer to a place you return to, not because it always helps, but because it holds. And when something holds you long enough, it starts to shape you in ways you don't immediately notice. If you've been writing for a while, you might recognize this. The way certain thoughts don't overwhelm you the way they used to. The way you're able to stay with something a little longer than before. Not because it's easier now, but because you've practiced staying. And that practice doesn't look like progress from the outside, it looks like repetition. Ordinary pages, uneventful entries, days where nothing significant seems to happen. But underneath that, something is forming, or steadiness. Not the kind that removes uncertainty, but the kind that allows you to move through it without losing yourself completely. So maybe the question isn't what has journaling changed in me. Maybe that's hard to answer directly. Maybe it's this. What feels slightly easier to sit with now that didn't feel that way before? You don't have to search for a big answer, just noting something small, because most of what writing teaches you doesn't arrive as realization. It becomes visible only when you look back and realize you're not reacting, thinking, or feeling in exactly the same way you used to. And that difference, even if it's subtle, is where the real change has been happening all along. So tell me, what change have you seen in yourself recently?